Before we get started, there's something you should know about the chonillapodcast. We like to cuss. And if you don't want your kids to hear it, then listen to us when they're not around. But if you don't mind your kids listening to grown folks talk, then turn this shit up and let the show begin.
Ooh. Okay. It's kind of a bump and beat. So far, so good.
I'm scared.
Me too. Please don't say something ignorant, because this beat is really bomb. I love this like Chicago house kind of vibe thing.
So the video,
yeah, go ahead.
It's a guy in like kabuki makeup.
Okay.
It's just him in the video.
Okay.
Pretty shitty green screen.
Is he gonna sing?
He's kind of opening and closing his umbrella at the screen.
Okay. The voice is not bad. Okay.
The lyrics are "You instead of thought."
Wait, what?
You instead of thought.
You instead of thoughts?
Yes.
This is like an anti-vaxxer anthem?
No. It was just somebody living their best life on the internet.
You know who it reminds me of? Have y'all heard of Mark Rivolette?
No.
Okay, I'll send you a link later.
Okay.
Nice. This kind of thing. This was like a drum machine and himself screaming about different things. It's funny.
Does he have glasses?
Yeah, he does have glasses.
I know.
And the house robe? Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
that is.
Yes.
I have
This
one.
reminds me of that. This reminds me of that.
I have an alarm where he's like, "Get the fuck up, get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go." It's my alarm to get up in the morning.
He's so earnest about everything. I'm like,
He is. I love him.
Like he goes hard all the time.
so hard. It must be like taxing, I feel like. I hope he rests a lot.
Did you see the one where he's like with Erykah Badu and they just
Yes.
Oh,
the
yeah.
best.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, this is a bop. He just needs someone, a lyricist, to kind of bring it together, put a little bit more words.
Need some mastering on the mix.
Yeah.
You know? Hello, bonjour tout le monde. My name is Clove.
Hello, bonjour tout le monde. My name is Sherley and you're listening to the Chonilla Podcast, the personal comedy journal of an interracial couple who explores the world, current events, from different perspectives and experiences.
And you are joining us today, August 19th, 2021 at 5:45 p.m.
In the motherfucking Eastern Time.
Scratch noise.
It's already August 19th.
Yeah.
I was just telling the kids the other day that I was trying not to. So we can't say the word school because that triggers the hell out of them.
They go into like a 3-day depression.
Oh, yeah. They're like, can you please? They're like, can you please not say the word?
Yeah.
And so.
Because that's my go-to all the time. It's like, so you excited about going back to school?
Right. So I was like hinting, like, okay, so as of Monday, we've been in a routine, going back to bed early and stuff like that, get that body ready.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, why? And I'm like, well, you know, and they're like, oh, September.
Yeah, the luxury of youth.
Exactly. I'm so excited today. We have our first guest from us coming back from Chonilla, coming back season 1. Our guest today is Leslie Mack. She's a Brooklyn-born and raised activist of a first-generation American of Jamaican ancestry, an organizer, digital strategist, and anti-racism expert. She's freaking amazing. She founded the Ferguson Response Network, Safety Pin Box, and currently runs her own digital strategy and event projection consulting firm. Leslie works not just every day, Clove. I'm talking about day. Okay, you can't say every day. Day.
Oh yeah, Drew tells me all about it.
Right?
Yeah.
To lift up the voices of experiences of those most affected by racial injustice and white supremacy. Welcome to the Chonilla Podcast. Leslie Mack. I know.
Wagwan, people. Wagwan. I'm
I'm
so happy to be here. So happy to be your first guest on this reimagined ignited Chonilla. Y'all do not even know. I've been devouring the shows. I love your show. It's been so great to have it back. Been missing my Bible scriptures, been missing just the two of y'all in my ear on the regular. So I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so
that's
much.
Everything. Thank you.
It means the world coming from you. And thank you so much for listening. Now, the question is, while you're listening to Bible scriptures, what kind of Bible do you have? Do you have the one with the golden leaf around?
Is your Bible fancy?
Oh, I have the Bible app actually. So
Same.
I just be pulling that up,
Same.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah.
I just discovered
It's a lot easier to search.
Clove was just telling me my Bible version was different than the one he uses.
I don't know what Bible version you got, Shirley.
Mine is like crazy wordy.
Like it's a lot of words. It looks
But
like
there's also so many versions of the Bible with more books and different versions and different things. One of my really close friends, Takia Amin, shout out to Dr. Amin. She, she's a scholar, and anytime someone questions her, she's like, "Well, what version are you reading?" Like her first, and they just be staring at her like, "Wait."
It's right there, Shirley. Grab it. The writing, the print in this looks like the fine print on the back of like a Tylenol bottle.
Yeah,
oh my
it's
God.
crazy.
So you're gonna hurt your eyes with that one. You better
look at it.
Download that Bible app, get it together.
That's what I'm gonna have to do that because
oh my gosh,
way too much. Like I didn't know there's things like Judges. I never heard about Judges before.
Corinthians, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I'm excited, and we're excited too to get to the chapter 3 of Bible Scriptures 90210. But before we do, what have you been up to? Like we haven't. I mean, the last time we saw each other face to face was like 5 years ago. 5 years with us, and I think like 3-4 years, or something like that. How has, first and foremost, how have you been dealing with this whole pandemic?
It's been interesting. We moved from, in that 5 years, we moved from New Jersey to Michigan. Quickly realized we hated Michigan. No offense to all you Michiganders out there, but it's not for us. Although it was great because we got to see y'all so much because it was easy to get up to TNT to see y'all.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, where we are now. And it's been, really great. I love being here in the South. Our neighborhood is Black as F. And, it's just been really great getting to know a new community of organizers, new community of people, and getting to a new area of the country. I've never lived in the South before. So that's our kind of geographical location. As far as this whole pandemic situation, though, we've just been here, just kind of holed up. My husband Drew already works from home and already had been working from home. He has a new job, just coming up on his year anniversary, and he's been really enjoying that. Nice. And I went full force with my consulting firm, and so I've just been doing a lot of work there. I'm the communications director for an amazing organization called The Frontline, which is a partnership between the Movement for Black Lives, United We Dream, the Rising Majority, and the Working Families Party. And so I've been on that grind since over a year now. We really came together to push this general election where we needed to, frankly. Before that, I was a surrogate on Elizabeth Warren's campaign and was doing a lot of political work as well in that area. And I've just been working a lot with not just the Frontline, but also with my other clients, and really trying to make as big an impact as I can, helping people really lift up great work, translate the work they're doing into digital spaces. And then, obviously since the pandemic, moving a lot of in-person stuff into the digital realm. And what else is new? I'm on the board of the trustees for the Unitarian Universalist Association. So that's been taking up some of my time as well, trying to steer an entire faith towards anti-racism and liberation. Is quite a challenge, but we're up for it, and we're working hard on that. And then I have a new podcast that's coming out in a couple of weeks. So that's been taking up a good portion of my time.
Oh my goodness.
Those are some serious money moves. Wow.
That is
nice.
Woo. I'm sweating from hearing it. You are busy bee.
Very busy.
I need
very
a break.
busy.
How do you balance it all? Like, did you find with, as you know, we're both in the digital realm. Did you find like because of COVID, work has gone up or it's kind of like stayed the same?
Yeah, I mean, I literally went from, I'm not even joking, hosting campaign events for Elizabeth Warren on Super Tuesday to lockdown in a day.
Wow.
That was
Whoa.
that's how large of a shift that happened. And then what I found immediately was like all of a sudden every skill I have was in the highest of demand. Like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
all the things I had already been doing, all of the talent that I had been accumulating, all the knowledge that I had been acquiring, and all the things I had been already doing, suddenly everybody needed it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been wild to go from famine to feast in terms of demand, and really being able to be a lot choosier about who I work with and how that engagement is, what kind of work I want to do, and the kind of, orgs I want to work with. So it's been a wild ride. And also, I like all of us had hoped that we would be somewhat past this shit by now. And it's really, been disheartening to see that we're not, and it's not looking good. So just trying to stay as positive as I can, stay busy, and, take on work that's meaningful and positive to kind of balance out the shittiness of the world, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you finding that, like, what are some, is the United States, like, are they going into a fourth wave? Because they're saying in Canada that we're looking like we're going to have a fourth wave too.
Yeah.
Fourth wave. This is like our sixth wave, first of all. Like, these niggas is really in denial down here. And I'll say this: there never was not a wave. We've never had a valley like that. This doesn't exist. And if anybody claims there's, they're a fucking liar.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's grim down here. I mean, most of the states around us, anyways, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, they have like no ICU beds. We're seeing, huge numbers of especially children under 12 who aren't able to be vaccinated here yet, in the hospitals. Schools are opening, no mask mandates, no safety protocols, no nothing. In fact, these I don't want to, what, I'm going to try and be judicious. These people
Nice.
Who are actively fighting against the safety of our country are really, they just have a really loud megaphone, and we have a dereliction and of leadership when it comes to our elected officials here. And it's really been sad to watch. I will say my personal prediction is that COVID will be we'll look back and this will be the linchpin of the fall of the American empire.
Wow.
So, wow. That's heavy to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. I don't think there's coming back from it. I think we've proven that this empire values money overall, and that is people mean very, very little. And when that is laid bare, there's not very many places to go. And so that's just the reality of things. The whole country is fucking bright red. We put some personal protocols in place at our home. If anybody comes to visit, they have to test before they get here. We test before they get here.
Makes sense.
We don't go anywhere. I mean, it was so funny the other day. I was like, what did we used to do? And I don't remember what it means. We took a trip last week up to the mountains here in North Carolina, but it was very isolated. Like we've been just doing things that we just go to a place and we just stay at that place, and then we come home, and that's it. I'm tired of fucking cooking. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm tired of making my own meals constantly. I'm tired of takeout. Everything is very repetitive. That's really what I think is if I'm talking about what's sitting in my psyche, and what's been really affecting me is the repetitive nature of this, and also just it's not ending. There's no end. And
I can see that, lending towards well-being, you have to find that routine, but when that routine sees no end, it changes its dynamic, right?
Yep. It completely flips. It becomes less comforting and more of a prison, more of a stifling thing. And so, I mean, I'm back on Drew and I are like, okay, let's get our stock up list together because this fall and winter are looking bad. Making sure we got all the stuff in the pantry and backups for everything.
That's
and
true.
Not hoarding. Please don't hoard, people. But, just to make sure we don't have, when things are bad and we really need to hunker down, that we're able to do that. So that's what's been going on here. And
if you
not
can't,
so good US of A.
Yeah. If you can, I guess, in a sense, make space for people who can't like stock up like that. Like they need to be able to get into the grocery stores. So people who can stock up, do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That reality hit me yesterday when I went to the groceries. I could already see people are starting to stock up, and it's like, oh,
damn.
I was trying to be in denial about it, but I can't. It's like, damn, that wave is coming.
Yeah, it's here. Yeah.
It's so fascinating too. It's like, how much it just tells you. For me personally, I was joking at the time when I said this. When it first hit, like, damn, Mother Nature's really mad at us. But I'm like, no, she really pissed. Like, she really is. Y'all are not getting it together. So I'm going to have to do a little cleanup
You
right
clearly
now.
don't get this.
Yeah, like, I'm not just some floating thing. Like, I am a bioorganism as well. And if y'all continue behaving like parasites,
right,
I'm going to have to, like, fix myself. And it just, I don't know. It's
Earth is done with us. She's really fucking done. She's over it. She's given us all the chances. It's been, millennia, and she's just like, y'all are trash continually. And even this you could have handled. We could have all shut down for 8 weeks, paid everybody for 8 weeks to just stay the fuck home and isolate, mandate vaccinations, and keep it pushing. And we couldn't even do that. So here we are with mad people screaming, obscenities at school board meetings, demanding that their children be sent off to slaughter. I don't know. It's really
the same
wild.
Situation
it's
here.
wild.
Yeah. Same thing in Ontario, man. They want to send the kids back to school. And it's like they have this attitude of like, well, we're trying to be optimistic and we want to, get back to normal and we want to do all this stuff. And it's like, stop. There's a pandemic. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyways. Speaking of pandemic, do you guys want to go through the word of the day?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, let's go. Ooh.
The word today is kəഃpiCHə́lāt.
Oh.
kəഃpiCHə́lāt.
Okay, I'm gonna get digital notepad. Capitulate. Okay. Can you tell us what it like?
Here's the first clue.
Okay.
Between 1791 and 1804.
Okay.
Wink, wink. Africans and their descendants refused to capitulate to their French captors.
Okay.
Second clue.
Second clue is after seeing himself on the news, the escaped convict decided to capitulate in order to avoid being violently apprehended by police.
So like to give in. Maybe to give in to give in or give up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
That's going to be my final answer.
Okay,
Shirley, give your answer.
I'll say because of the dates you said on that first example.
Yep.
To not bow down.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got it. Nice. So
magic.
It is cease to resist an opponent or an unwelcome demand to surrender.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that word. Capitulate? Is that how you- okay.
Capitulate.
All right. So I'm going to give it to our guest host.
I have to spell. Oh, Lord.
Yes.
That's not my thing.
Not cool, Shirley.
Okay. I'm gonna try it phonetically because it seems like a word that doesn't have too many like curveballs in it.
Right.
Okay.
So CAPITULATE is what I'm gonna say.
Is that your final answer?
Capitulate. Yes.
Yes, you got it. Ding,
Yes!
ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
I'm gonna get you on the next one, Shirley.
So you mentioned everything that you're doing. You're doing a lot, but now one of your newest project is you have a podcast coming out called Blackberry Jams. PRX is launching it. It's with Ben and Jerry's.
Nice.
It's all about jam band culture and Black liberation work. So it's you and Lenny Duncan hosting it. I have a question because here's the thing. I did not know anything about Phish until I met you and Drew. Please explain for anyone, because I was like, what is a fish? What is Phish? Who is Phish? Yes. Who is Phish and what's so special about this band?
Sure. So Phish is a band. It's spelled PHISH for Phish. And it's 4 white dudes from Vermont who went to college together. They started a band while they were in college 30 plus years ago. And they're a jam band, meaning their live shows are really, the thing about them. They're an improvisational band, so they play off each other. They don't have any like hits. They have very few albums even. And they're on tour and they have a wide following. I would say, if I was going to like shorthanded, is that they're kind of the newest generation of the Grateful Dead. So if you think of the kind of atmosphere around the Grateful Dead, people follow them and go on tour with them and go to all of the shows, and this kind of, free love atmosphere and sort of hippie-ish kind of thing. That's Phish.
Now, who introduced you to Phish? Like, how did you discover them?
So I've known about Phish for a long time. I went to boarding school in upstate New York, which is very close to Vermont. And so lots of my white girlfriends in high school were big Phish fans, and that was when they were just coming up. And so they were really popular locally, regionally. They'd play at like different like bars and little clubs and things like that. And so I've known about Phish for a really long time. I had gone to my first Phish show during high school with some friends. But when I met Drew, he has been a huge Phish fan for even longer than that, like since he ever heard of them.
Nice.
And
since he was born.
In fact, I tell this story in the first episode of the podcast, but the first night we hooked up, the day after, he went to a 3-day Phish festival. Like, literally, like, nice to meet you. Great hooking up. Well, not meet you, but nice to, I'll be back in 3 days. I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? It's a 3-day concert. I'm like, what? So that's how I really like started getting into Phish, just because, here's my partner, really loves this thing. And I was like, all right, let me see what the hell this is about, like what the deal is. And one of the things that I like to say about it as a Black person is that it's the closest thing going to a Phish show is the closest thing you can get to purchasing white privilege.
Really? Okay. Break it, like, give me an example. Break it down. What do you mean by that? So there's kind of
this like bubble, right? So like people are, wherever you are, people are like smoking weed, and this is before anything was
legalizing, okay,
and before any of that stuff, and like doing other illicit drugs, and just this general freedom that existed in this bubble of a show that really didn't exist outside of it. And so for me, it was like this, like walking around kind of like, these people, they just doing whatever the fuck they want to do in here. Like nobody gives a shit. Nobody's stopping them. No one's saying anything to them. And as you start to like get in, and Phish is a great band. I mean, I love their music and I love listening to them and I love going to shows and really getting into kind of the groove. There's this, they call it a moment of bliss where everything is like just thumping and the lights are going and everything's really great. Yeah. And so, that's how I kind of, name it as a Black person in this space. But also there's very few Black people there, to the point that like one of my friends, Nicole, from high school, we were at a show together, or we knew we were going to be at a show together in Atlantic City. And I was like, well, I'm going, we'll try and catch up with each other. And I'm not kidding you. We're in this huge boardwalk hall in Atlantic City. And I could see her because she was the only other Black woman there. Wow. And I texted her, but I see you, I'm waving right now. And she was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll see you. I'll meet you by the bathroom. Wow. So that's literally, it's like that level of, just like very, very white atmosphere.
That's wild.
Oh, wow. Do you know any musicians that are popular that loves them or talk about them or kind of maybe have sampled a little bit about them that people may not know, like, oh, that's kind of inspired by Phish?
I wouldn't say like inspired, but like more recent jam bands would be like Humphrey McGee's would be one, if you all have heard of them, or Mo, Galactic. So any of these bands that really like lean into their live improvisational style of music is kind of like, those are all like descendants of the Grateful Dead and Phish subsequently. So yeah, cool. It's really about, they play similar songs, but every time you hear it, it's never the same, because you never know where they're going to take it, what if it's going to be a deep, long guitar solo, or if the bass player Mark Gordon's going to take off, or if Paige McConnell, who's on the keys, is going to really get into it that time. So every every song that you hear. I mean, I've heard almost all their songs multiple times, and it's like, oh, that was a really great tweezer, or that free was amazing, or that was the best ghost I've heard yet, or something like that. So it's really very much an experiential, kind of thing.
I love that idea too, because it's like you go to the concert to hear their what they've done and the music they've done, but they're also able to have this creative outlet where they can like, okay, so we're doing this song, but guess what? I feel like doing a guitar solo for this song right now.
Yep.
No one's heard it before. It's happening.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Or they'll tease a song, and you'll be like, oh, I think I heard that. And then but you won't hear that song for like 3 more songs. So, like there's a lot of that. And they talk a lot about how they really feed off the energy of the crowd, how it's a really big give and take. They also have a quote unquote 5th member. His name is Chris Caruta, who does their lighting, and it's very intricate lighting. Cool. He actually has a new rig for this tour. That's been fantastic just to see an innovative, just this kid who did lights for them 30 years ago. And they're like, you know what, come on with us, Chris. And now he's this professional lighting professional now. That's cool. that does all of their shows. And so it's a big, festival kind of atmosphere. And they've also had kind of like phases. So there's like Phish 1.0, which was like the early years. They have 2.0, which is when they got kind of like big after Jerry Garcia passed away. Oh, wow. They took a hiatus because Trey Anastasia, who's the lead singer, he had a bit of a drug problem, had to go to rehab. And so when he came back, they had 3.0. And they're right now, this most recent tour, which was postponed from last year, they are referring to this. And I say they, meaning the Phish faithful, is referring to this as 4.0. So it's been really interesting to be a person to have watched kind of this evolution of this band. And these guys are old dudes now, they got families and they got kids and all grandkids. But the 4 of them still get up there and live their rock star dreams,
That's cool.
all the time. And it's fantastic.
That's wild.
It's nice to have a legacy like that.
But not only that, to have a legacy like that, to teach your audience about being open on having flexibility, because there's some audiences, well, for the most part, like if they're gonna go see, I don't know, Celine Dion or Beyonce, and they're like, sing that song and don't change anything about it. So for them to teach the audience to like, okay, just be open-minded and come explore with us on this different version of this song. But at the same time, I think to myself, do they feel the pressure? Like I'd be pressured, like, oh man, we gotta like figure a different way, or they just go with it. Yeah,
I would just go with it. I wouldn't feel the pressure on that.
I think with them, it's really about the energy from the crowd, and then they've been playing together for so many years that it's when you watch them, because it's COVID, we're couch touring, which they brought, they web stream, live stream all of the shows. So we'll just webcast them and we'll be on our couch and watching the shows, which is great because you get a lot of tight shots of them and watching the interplay between them when they're pointing at different things or doing different things. And they've been incorporating new stuff. Their drummer has a sound mixer and machine now. He's never had that on tour before. And so even they are still continuing to like evolve and interact with each other. They're also really known for these huge multi-day festivals that they do, where you go and you camp out and you get multiple shows in a row, and you get to, you can go in and listen to sound check. Cool. And they had the largest gathering for the millennium, actually, down in Alligator Alley in Big Cypress in Florida. Drew and I were there for that. And the largest gathering for the millennium was a Phish concert in the middle of the swamps in Florida on indigenous land. It was wild, really wild time, really amazing. But yeah, they're kind of known for this. Like I said, it's about the experience, about the community, about the culture. So it's been worldwide. Yeah. So and now I'm doing a podcast about it with my good friend Lenny.
Nice. How did that come about? How did you and Lenny come together to create this? Like, how did you even discover that? Was it something that Lenny and you just discovered, like, oh, I like Phish, and oh, I like Phish. Wait a minute. Like, how did this all come about?
Yeah, we met, Lenny's a minister and he does a lot of faith organizing. And so we met through that world of organizing, faith communities. And then, I don't know, I either posted a picture from a show or he posted a picture, or our tickets came in the mail and I had posted them or something. And he was like, wait a second, you like fish? I was like, wait a minute, you like fish? And it was sort of this like, whoa, holy shit, like two Black people that have so much in common and we like fish. It was just like too much. And so like 2 years ago, there was this podcast called Long May They Run, which was about Phish, 10 episode season, about the history of the band. Talked about a lot of different aspects of it. And it was a great podcast, but it was so fucking white. I mean, like, really, like really white. Yeah. And so we were talking about this on Twitter, just like, yeah, great podcast. But like, where were the Black people? Where are the people of color? Where are the people of the global majority? Like, they just cease to exist in the context of the show. Mm-hmm. And so I just started like tweeting about it. I was like, yeah, man, Phish should pay us and just sponsor a show for us to talk about the experience as a Black fan and, you know, this general connection between jam band culture, especially if we talk about prior to Phish, or Grateful Dead and the scene in Haight-Ashbury in California and San Francisco, which was really about like mutual aid and care for each other, and how there's significant ties between those concepts and Black liberation, the work that Lenny and I do now. Mm-hmm. And so we had been, you know, literally just conversating and tweeting about it. And this guy, Jay Curley from Ben and Jerry's, follows me, and he hit me up and was like, hey, I had a little pull over here. We might be able to do this for you. Let's talk. Okay. And that, here we are now. You know, PRX was really excited to come and produce, and Ben and Jerry's stepped in to finance this whole thing and give us a lot of support as well. So shout out to both of them. And so that's the tale from literally from a tweet to first beat of a podcast. Pretty exciting.
And
that's wild.
And it's the way, so when things open up, that you'll be able to see more Black people. Like, hey, is this you and Lenny's way to gather all the people of color?
Yeah, they've been coming out of the woodwork. Like, my DMs are full of Black folks that are like, I didn't know there were more people like me. And this morning I did a interview with Afrobella, who's like a hair and beauty expert. Yeah. And the day that the podcast got announced, she jumped into my DMs, and we followed each other for a while, and was like, I have a fucking story to tell. Like, literally, like, I have a story. I have a Phish story. And so it's been great for Lenny and I to be able to, provide a platform. And she said, I've never told anybody this story. I've never talked about it anywhere, because why would I? Who would care about it? Or what venue do I work in that would think this is something that they wanted to tell? And so I actually talked with her this morning. We spent about 20 minutes, having a conversation about her story. And so it's been a lot of that. We have like a phone line people can call. We've been getting a lot of phone calls from people just saying like, yeah, I was at the Nashville show and everybody was so cool there, and different things like that. So it's been really great.
That's pretty tight.
I'm gonna have to listen to Phish. I need to. So as a newbie of Phish, and I have not listened to any of their music. So I'm excited about this podcast, and I feel like this podcast is going to be a great introduction as a person of color, as a Black person, to discover who they are and start listening. What would you say? Where do I start? Where do we start in terms of getting into the Phish bowl? See how I did that? The Phish bowl.
Yeah. What I tell people to do is like, think of like a date or a time in your life that was significant, and then go and listen to some live shows from that time period. Okay. That's what, when anybody asks me, like, there isn't a good starting place, right? There isn't like, okay, this is what you should listen to first. But I try to tell people to do that, the year you got married, or you had your first child, or when something significant happens to you, and then you can go back and go to phish.net. They have an archive of every show that they've ever played. Yeah. And then you can kind of download the music and listen. Yeah. Do it that way. I think I like to do that because you can have in your mind where you were, and then kind of connect that to what they were playing at the same time. So that's what I usually suggest when people are like, how do I get into Phish?
Yeah. Bring your feelings.
Yeah.
They
do have some studio albums, and you can, go on whatever Spotify or Tidal, whatever, listen to those. But their live shit is where the real magic is. So that's my suggestion.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. Who are we? What kind of conversation that listeners will expect with this podcast? What are they looking forward to here?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into a whole bunch of stuff. We're gonna talk about, like I said, those connections between jam band culture and Black liberation, how some of these foundational concepts of mutual aid are connected to each other.
Right.
We're gonna talk about the experience of being a Black fan. You know, a lot of times I get asked, like almost every show I go to, it's just my first show. Or Lenny gets asked if he's security, you know, things like that. We're gonna talk about some of the not so great stuff. And also talk about, you know, this aspect of like, what does it mean to be able to purchase white privilege one show at a time? And what does that feel like, you know, to simultaneously feel extremely free, but also know, like, just outside those gates, your people are being oppressed right now. So we're going to get into all the good, the bad, the blissful, the ugly, all of the above. And it's going to be a fun ride.
Well, I hope that are they, I guess I am curious, are they aware about this, about you guys creating this? Have you heard anything from the band? Have they hinted that they're like, oh, thanks for creating the show?
The band, yes. Ben and Jerry's has notified the band of our
nice
existence and that the show is coming on, and we're hopeful to get one of the band members come on for our last episode. So
putting good vibes out there. Yes,
fingers crossed for that. Fingers crossed for that.
It's gonna happen.
I can't imagine they don't know about the show.
Of course.
At this point, it's gotten a lot of coverage, and a lot of people have been talking about it within the small jam band community. And it's you know, just a different take. There's a lot of Phish podcasts and a lot of shows that talk about jam bands, but none from this particular perspective and this particular slant. So I think it'll be interesting. Trey, you know, in the midst of all this upheaval here in the United States, he did some shows at the Beacon Theater in New York City that he just streamed, and he said Black Lives Matter on stage. It caused this huge ruckus. He's never done that before. Wow. They tend to, when you listen to a show, they almost don't say anything. Like, thank you, thanks guys. Like, that's the most you'll really get.
Right.
A funny little joke.
They like, they're not through the music and the notes.
Yeah, like in between songs, they're not like having a conversation, because mostly they're trying to play off each other. So now it's like, okay, what was Mike just playing? Okay, I'm gonna jump on that. Or oh, Paige seems like he wants to play this song, so let me go that direction. It's very much about that.
Yeah, and they're busy working.
To have him say anything, it was kind of a big deal within the faithful. And so I'm interested to see what their response is. It'll be, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, one of the things I learned from, like, you know, understanding of this podcast coming up is jam bands. I've never heard that term before. Can you explain that? Because for me, I hear jam bands. It's like, is it like jazz? Especially because you said playing off of each other. What's what is jam bands, and what's the difference you would think from jam bands to jazz? Or is it or are they closely similar?
I think they're similar in the improvisational nature, but jazz is such a specific like genre of music that this is something very different. So a jam band is basically a band that thrives off of the improvisational, like back and forth nature of music with each other, with the people they're playing with. There's like this running joke is like, you never stop the jam. It just fizzles out when it needs to. Like that's sort of like, you know, slowly people peel themselves off and then the jam is over. And so it's a lot about that. It's about kind of getting musically to a place where you're all kind of in sync and harmony. You're playing together. Things are elevating. You get to a crescendo and then kind of like peter off into the next thing.
That's where innovation happens.
And that's sort of, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that kind of
nice.
Vibe. Yeah.
Well, I hope that you get one of the bands to be, I'm putting it out there, good vibes that they come. And then I'd love to know the questions like, when do you know when to end?
It's totally going to happen.
Do you know when to stop? I love it. So it's coming. So it's launching August 31st.
Yes, August 31st. Episode 1 airs. There's 10 episodes. So we'll be going.
Oh, no, internet.
Yeah.
Search Blackberry Phans or Blackberry Jams on social, or Blackberry Phans PHANS. And it's that the reception's been really great, and we've gotten just like mad coverage, Variety, Adweek, Rolling Stone. It's been a bit of a whirlwind to just see the interest in it. And Lenny and I have been working really hard. We've got 6 out of the 10 episodes already in the can, so we've been hard at work at this for a really long time. It's been a big secret to keep and really hard because we've been working and also like doing this very secretly, like behind the scenes. And I'm glad that we at least now we get to talk about it and I don't have to be silent about it anymore.
I can imagine. I'm excited. I can't wait to listen to it. August 31st, everyone. Go follow on all of however you listen to a podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, you name it.
Yeah.
Definitely follow now, subscribe now on your favorite podcast player so you could hear the first episode drop August 31st. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know my homework will be I'm going to start listening to some Phish before the episode drops.
Yeah, you get all caught up.
Yeah, you have to text me. Tell me what you think.
I will.
I'll also, you know what I'll do? I'll email you guys or I'll text you guys a couple of my favorite shows.
Cool.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, let's go into the news, shall we?
Nice.
News. I like the news. What is in the news? Yay, the news is not bad.
That's my baby.
So Lebanon right now is going through it. I mean, I was just talking throughout the week about all the things that's been happening. I think now we're beyond 72 hours from Haiti to Afghanistan and now Lebanon, where they had a fuel explosion in Lebanon that killed 20 folks. And now what's happening is food and fuel shortages are happening in the country. It's creating because of lack of fuel, hospitals,
lack of resources.
Yeah. It's affecting hospitals because not having fuel.
Yeah, it's a strategy that some people use, or some like armies or governments will use to like create chaos.
Yeah, and I know that Lebanon had protests around the same time as Haiti too.
Right.
Just before what happened with the prime minister.
Right.
I know it was like humanitarian. There we go. Related protests, and for me, I'm like, So the people who protested about a year and a half ago.
Gotcha.
Because of the way the government is running shit. It was because of that it was government related.
Because of bad government.
Bad government.
Yeah.
And now fuel is going down. Like so I think they're discovering that there are, that's what it was. That there was like Ponzi scheme like ways, or the way that they were running the country, that there were like Ponzi type of stuff, corruptions that were happening within the government that creates for this whole lack of fuel now and lack of food.
Yep, not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So prayers to Lebanon. I hope that, I know that there's a lot of relief that is going on for Lebanon right now. I'll see if I could find some information and then share it on Twitter. But prayers with Lebanon, and we'll see what happens and with what's going on with the country.
Big prayers to them. You know, Jamaica has a lot of Lebanese immigrants there. So
I didn't know that.
Before Lebanon was Lebanon, it was actually called Syria. And there was a huge amount of immigration from Syria to Jamaica. At one point, I did my 23andMe, and I have like a lot of Lebanese DNA because of this, because my grandmother's side of the family comes from that immigrant. So
that explains
I've been thinking about that a lot.
Mom.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I've been reading a lot of the news about it. And of course, you know, what happens when these humanitarian crises happen is that the global powers just start using it like a ping pong ball. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I've been really watching and paying attention to. Yeah. It's like, you know, Hezbollah sending oil, and then the US doesn't want Hezbollah to send the oil. And it's like, these are people. We're not talking in abstract anymore, you know, and the global news and local news, it's just been so overwhelming. I have to say, it's been really disheartening. I've been trying to tell people to, you know, get get themselves together spiritually, like internally, because these outside influences are really doing a number on all of us right now. It's really hard to see the good. You know, we're talking about my little podcast, and I really haven't been able to truly be like happy or excited about it, to be frank. I've enjoyed making it, but it hasn't touched me because everything just seems awful right now.
And what makes it awful, and I totally feel you, like you have these moments, I would say since the beginning of pandemic, it's like what's frustrating is to see the people who have influence, politicians basically, they're totally removed on the humanity aspect of running things, and that's the frustrating part about it. You know, it's like completely thinking about pocket and not thinking about people.
Right.
And to see like not being like there's no, like, they're not even embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And that's the fuckery of it all.
Yeah. And it's like when you, like, I'm not too sure about the specifics that's happening in the
Lebanon,
area.
yeah.
But what I do know is most of those conflicts are proxy wars.
Yeah.
You know, they're funded by like huge empires like the US and the Russia and, you know, places like this that are just like funding money to people who they could or could not be fighting for the right or wrong reasons, but they know they have to fight, and they're just in there killing each other.
Yeah.
While everybody else is just funding them and standing back.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It's wild.
It is wild.
It is. We definitely have a global dereliction of leadership, and it's frustrating, you know, really feeling what you were just saying, Sherley, because you all asked to lead. You know, nobody forced you to be a leader. You said you wanted to lead, so fucking lead.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of this like lazy approach to leadership where you just sit back and don't really do anything. I mean, it's really only acceptable for politicians. It's wild, actually.
Right. Yeah.
Even CEOs have people, even if it's not the right people they have to answer to, but their shareholders at some point are like, you're not doing shit. Get out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
you know?
Right.
So it's just, you know, politics it's just a mess.
And that has to change. Oh my God. I'm glad you said that about like even CEOs, because the board members will places accountability on them when they're running amok or running wild. And in politics,
or the people will boycott something. I mean, there are ways to kind of influence just because of how capitalism and how money works. But with these fucking elected officials, you know, they don't have term limits. They don't have any reason to really do anything other than continue collecting money from wherever they're collecting their money from. And
we don't even ask for their resume compared to like a CEO. A CEO has to still fucking hand in a resume. You know what I mean? Like,
if I want to open up a bank account, I gotta, you know, show my tax returns. I gotta show my, you know, income or whatever. But them, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nah. Yeah. In other news, OnlyFans is seeking, basically, they are, I think as of October 1st, I mean, OnlyFans will prohibit the posting of any content containing sexually explicit conduct in order to ensure the long-term sustainability of the platform and to continue to host an inclusive community of creators and fans.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought they were so popular because of all the adult content on there.
They were.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
They are.
So what are they doing? Like, why would they make this hard turn like that?
Well, they're saying that because they're trying to get more money, like get some money from banks and funding, like venture capital and stuff like that. These banks are like,
I thought they were already super rich.
They are.
Like what?
Well, I think they want to get even super, super rich. Like
they want to get more richer.
They want to get richer. Yeah.
So why wouldn't they create a sister company that uses their same technology, but that doesn't allow adult stuff?
I don't know.
What?
But they are saying they're banning porn.
Wow.
Because the banks and the people that they're getting money from are asking them to.
I think it's because the people making all that money, because the flow of money, nobody's paying those taxes. I think that's what it's about.
No, that's the thing about OnlyFans is that you do pay taxes on the money because you have to report it. They get a portion of the money that you make on OnlyFans, and all of it gets reported. It's actually a very legitimate source of income for lots of people, specifically sex workers.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. This is. I'm gonna read a few things. One, I want to shout out to Ryan Ken, who's a really amazing creator. You can follow them on TikTok, and Ryan Ken Acts on Twitter. But They said, if this is true, every move the company makes from this point forward will have been financed by the sex workers they have ripped off yet again.
That's real.
They buy a company, sex workers pay for that. Take a new content direction, sex work paid for that as well. And there is like this pattern, whether we're talking about Backpage or what's the name of that one where they stopped allowing like escorts to
I didn't know.
to put their ads in there. This was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And shout out to Antoine Hardy, who said OnlyFans did the old media tradition: get Black people / underrated folk to make your platform popular.
Yep.
Get white corporate attention, then cash out and ban or restrict the former group.
Yeah.
This is something we've seen over and over and over again. And this war against sex work is it's so offensive to me on so many levels.
And it's
but taking it to this point, because OnlyFans was one of those places where
it was safe. Yes. Yep.
Safe way for
Hopefully.
and make money.
Yeah.
And it's awful. And it's just so sad to see.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, they're trying to use the excuse or the reason. One of the reasoning was because they don't want by having porn on OnlyFans that they want to make sure that there's no minors, right? But it's like there's ways, there's so many technology and things like that you can do checks. You can check for this stuff.
These reasons that you're saying that they're saying just don't make sense because where did that shift come from? Do you know what I mean? Like, you've profited off of all this.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to ditch all the people that, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so a lot of, like you said, like
Capitalism,
you mentioned,
man.
off of the backs of sex workers, a lot of creators are feeling betrayed, like it's, I'm hoping that someone or a group of people who knows how to, like, basically that they create an OnlyFans type of platform, but that will be not only safe to continue to be safe for sex workers, but has also the technology to make sure no minors, none of that.
It doesn't make sense to my brain that they're trying to make it palatable for a customer base that was never involved with them in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's coming from payout providers and banking partners. And we saw this with the, legalization of marijuana here in the United States, where, Colorado was the first state to be legal, but they weren't allowed to do banking. So, you're talking about cash only businesses with like safes of money, getting, putting themselves at risk because they had to do everything in cash. And now that, all the white people are starting to make money off of it, now you see banks being like, okay, let's start to let them put their money in our banks now.
Exactly.
And so it's the same kind of like repetitive thing.
It's the predictable pattern.
OnlyFans has 130 million users, 2 million creators. They've earned over $5 billion on the platform. So I mean, this is just devastating. And I have multiple friends who make their living on OnlyFans, and this is just devastating and really awful, and also going to make the work they do less safe for them and for the people that interact with it.
Well, hopefully this inspires another developer to come through with something that will cater to that demographic, because clearly there is $5 billion industry. There is a need for it.
There is definitely a need. And OnlyFans has already proven that there are creators out there.
And they can be successful at it.
Exactly. So if you know anyone who's a developer, here's your idea.
Yeah. Everybody wins except,
compete
when
with OnlyFans and create
involved,
your own to make it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, man, I wish I knew how to do computer science and coding right now.
I thought you were going to say, man, I wish I knew how to, get naked on the camera. I was like, what?
Yo,
make that money.
There's been many a day where I'm like, I should just start a
I had an idea for one.
Fuck all this shit. I'm just gonna do OnlyFans and just be done with this.
I won't share the idea because I don't want nobody to take this idea. But I almost was like, maybe I should do something. Like I was considering when it was like first launched.
Well, you've got one subscriber right here.
Oh man, but so that really, really sucks. They say OnlyFans.
I mean, we saw this Tumblr ban pornography. Who the fuck uses Tumblr now? Nobody.
Right.
Literally, they tanked their entire company.
Yeah.
And allowing payment processors to dictate morality is it's peak capitalism.
Yeah.
I was literally just thinking that too, because I was like, I was listening to, this news related to this, and I was thinking like, it's fucking sex. Like, it's not a big deal. But I bet you if it was guns, no problem. Like, whole banks would be like, oh, we're making billions and billions of dollars in violence and guns. Yeah, sure. Here, no stipulations whatsoever. Here you go.
I thought I heard like YouTube was going to stop having videos showing like how guns get taken apart and how to build them and shit like that. And
oh, really?
I think so. But you still see them on there.
I'll have to check.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Why are people so afraid of sex?
I don't know.
It's like the most natural thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
And last piece of news is, how dare you make Naomi Osaka cry?
Oh, that, when you told me that, like that headline, kind of what you told me, I was like, oh, who is trash enough to do that? She's like the nicest person on the planet right now.
Right? Oh, I have a video. I'm just going to play a clip so you could hear how this went down.
You also have...
Yeah, we're going to have to mute your Zoom call. It sounds wicked though.
We're warping space-time. This sounds like Mark Rivellette as well.
Just mute your Zoom call, baby. Just mute the speakers.
I've already muted. This is so funny. Wait, how do I do this? Do I send you the... Hold on.
Well, first you'll have to mute it.
Wait, do I need to mute? I'm going to mute. Hold on.
Oh,
there we go.
No,
hold on.
No,
it's still there. Thank you, Leslie. Now we know for sure it's Sherley.
No, this is interesting because I have to turn on my computer in order to play the clip. So I think I have to send you the clip.
Okay. It'll be a while then. You got to turn your computer on.
What?
While it's coming up, though, I do want to say, like, while we're waiting for the clip, I'll do a little filler here about Naomi Osaka. You know, it's so, when we listen to the clip and talk about this story, I want folks to really put in their mind, you know, what happened at the French Open this year.
Yeah.
And how she didn't want to do press and the way she was treated for taking this stand. Mm-hmm. It's like they had to prove her right.
Right.
When I listened to this clip and I read the story and everything, I thought to myself, so they really just felt the need to prove that she was right all along. And it's like way to show that she was right from Jump Street.
Right.
And you're trash.
Exactly. Like I thought the same thing too. Like she expressed on how much, you know, it sucks because there's so many talented people like herself who all these years had to kind of push through it. And she had.
Oh, you mean like just because of the toxic environment, who was putting pressure on them to push through?
Oh my
right?
gosh!
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like not just athletes, artists, musicians, who
fans.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything. Who just like wants to create their music. You know, I think people like Kurt Cobain, who.
Sorry, what time should I start the videoing?
At the very beginning.
Right at the beginning?
Yeah,
okay.
There might be some advertisement or something. But I think people like that. Imagine if the culture created to say, hey, Kurt, you don't have to do these press junkets. Just keep doing your music.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll figure a way that maybe it's just one-on-one interviews if you feel more comfortable about that. Or just magazines. So people don't even have to like see you or hear you. Right.
Yep.
They could just read what you need to say. It's just, I think about talented people like that who've been pressured for years, like to deal with media and let alone toxic media like that.
Ugh. Yeah.
You know?
You ready?
Yeah.
My question, I guess, was you also have outside interests beyond tennis that are served by having the platform that the media presents to you. My question is, how do you think you might be able to best balance the two?
I can't really help that there are some things that I tweet or some things that I say that kind of create a lot of news articles or things like that. And I know that it's because I've won a couple Grand Slams and I've gotten to do a lot of press conferences that these things happen. But I would also say, like, I'm not really sure how to balance it too. Like, I'm figuring it out at the same time as you are, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
So, yeah, excuse me. I'd like to know how come you feel you don't need to, push through the pressure of me being a total dick.
Yeah. There's more. There's more in that clip from where you.
Okay.
I ask a couple of tennis questions. The first one is just how the training has been and how your preparation has been for the summer hard court swing. And the second one is just related to your tweet over the weekend, related to what's going on in Haiti.
Yeah, the damage is done
though. Just what your reaction is to the news there. Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're super good.
Oh, man.
Okay, I think we're just going to take a quick break. We'll be back in one moment.
Yeah, she's crying. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, this is where she's like.
Yeah, she leaves now.
She leaves.
Yeah,
the thing is, it's like she's expressed on how much the pressure, and she does not like media. Not everybody. That's why people have publicists sometimes, because they just can't handle. They're not media people. They just want to do their work.
Yeah, the most toxic elements of media are the ones that approach it like, you have all this fame, you have all this money, you owe us. Yeah, you owe us your time. You know what I mean? And how dare you, not grant us access to you as soon as we want it, because you have everything that you want. I don't.
You wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for us media covering you. That's the flair.
How would you feel if we ignored you, huh? Mm-hmm. This is mean girl shit.
Yeah. And then let alone just the everything. Plus, she has family in Haiti. There's that.
Yeah.
There's that during the time that she's trying to push. She's trying to make money right now.
Yeah.
In order to help support Haiti with as she's playing as well.
Yeah.
It's just all of these layers that this guy just totally was like.
He's an asshole.
Oh, and he doubled down.
Yeah, he's an asshole that likes to watch people cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when
he
it's from
doubled
his words.
down on it.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said.
What do you think? Do you think that, Leslie, that there should be where we need to kind of look at going by what the athletes want? If they can handle media, great. If not, then find different ways to help to bring attention to what they do, but by their own terms.
Well, yeah, if you got a guy that's like Willie Beeman, sorry, Leslie, I'm just going to jump in. If you got a guy like Willie Beeman and he wants to be in front of the press, put him there.
Who's Willie Beeman?
Oh, it was from that Every Given Sunday. Yeah. It's an old Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino movie.
Yeah.
The arrogant ones.
I think certainly the Willie Beemans.
Yeah, that's correct. There we go.
Am I muted?
So sorry. Go ahead, Leslie.
No, I think that there's a lot of things at play here. Yes, for sure. I think the athletes and performers and any public person should be able to dictate the terms under which they want to interact with the press, because they're human beings. But separate from that, I think something really specific about the tennis press world is that, one, it's very small. It's a very small number of people that could cover the tennis circuit, and they're largely white and male and older. Okay. Yeah. So what we're watching is a group of people who are used to holding so much power, seeing their power diminish because now these athletes are taking their power back for themselves, and they're fighting against it. Just like we're seeing the white lash all around the world to challenges to white supremacy culture. It's the same thing that's happening here. These same people have been covering tennis for the last 30 years, and they're horrible. And I say this across the board. I will punch Chris Evert in the face if I ever see that bitch in a hallway somewhere. I'm not kidding. She's a fucking racist. She's a racist every time she's commentating on any match that any non-white player is playing in. Everything she says is racist. Every approach she has is racist. It's because she's allowed to do it. And so that's the same thing that's in the press kind of like circuit of tennis. Because tennis, if you remember, this is the white sport. It's like golf. We're not supposed to be there. The Naomi Osakas of the world are not supposed to be
gymnastics
excelling
was the same
at tennis. And so we're watching live this backlash to, non-white people excelling in these sports that are not supposed to be for them. But the other side of this, so the commentators, the coaches, all the people that used to hold power, those shifts have not happened yet. And so that's what we're watching play out in real time. And what's heartbreaking to me is that Naomi
Yeah.
She's been very transparent about why she doesn't want to do press, about the kind of press that has pushed her to her limits, and that she's not afraid to just fucking pull out of your bullshit ass tournaments. So this is something that this entire sport is going to have to reckon with moving forward. What she's done is she set a line in the sand. Simone Biles has done the same. And, you know, Serena Williams, I like to reference her because she didn't have the opportunity or the backing to be able to say I'm going to pull out or I'm not going to, because what would be said? She's washed up. She can't hack it. She does all of this stuff. But these young people, these babies, these young people, they don't give a fuck about you and what you think about them. They're very secure within themselves. They're very secure in the team that they've put around them to support them. And we're watching in real time a backlash to them taking back their power.
Magical. It's amazing.
It's amazing and it's magical. And it's like a roller coaster of emotion, because as you're seeing that with, you know, we're mentioning these names like Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles, as they're placing the line in the sand, it's also amazing to see that it's giving permission to other athletes, you know, any athletes, it doesn't matter their culture, their background or whatever, saying like, yeah, I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to sacrifice literally like my life in order to do another flip in order for the country. And I'm thinking of self here, you know. So these media people that think that, you know, these celebrities or athletes or talented people need to kowtow to them, they can go fuck themselves. That's ridiculous. Shout out to the young folks teaching us old heads, like, you know, to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. It's so true. Like man, shut the fuck up. I'm gonna do me. And I'm going to do what's best for me. I think that's this the whole lesson. You know, I'm going to do what's best for me. Right. Regardless and this of the other system shit you got going on. It's not working. Yeah. It can go someplace else. Yeah. And to me, it's like the ultimate in leveraging privilege, right? It's like we talk about white people leveraging privilege. They never do. These young women of color, Black women, are actually leveraging their privilege in ways that are that are already earth shaking. I mean, you know, not to segue into Simone Biles, but Simone, she didn't even want to compete in this Olympics in the first place. She said, I did it because if I didn't go, I would be the last survivor of Larry Nassar, Dr. Larry Nassar, who molested all of the U.S. Gymnastics Association, trigger warning. If I did not compete in the Tokyo Olympics, there would be no one there and they could just sweep it under the rug and never talk about it again. Gosh. She's the last competing survivor. And she said, I owed it to the rest of these survivors to not just walk away because I can compete. I am the fucking best. I'm the GOAT. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to push myself and I'm going to go. When it's not safe, I'm not going to do it anymore. But I decided to go to Tokyo because of my presence alone, they can't sweep this shit under the rug. And just because I'm there, anyways. They can't do it. Yeah. She walked out on her team. Yes. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah. That's it for the news, y'all. Wow. Amazing. Thanks for that, sweetie. That was great news. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Leslie. Oh my, Leslie, we need to have you back, man. Giving us perspective. I like the nuance. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Y'all got your Bibles ready? Yep. Nice. Bible scriptures. There it is. 210. I am so excited. All right, everybody. It's time for Bible Scriptures 90210. This is the part of the chonillapodcast where I share with Shirley and you, the listener, and Leslie, our awesome guest, what I've read in the Bible so far and parody it by trying to make it sound all edgy and shit. All right. So last time we heard about David being declared king of Judah. And we heard about Ishbosheth being declared king of Israel. We heard about 24 soldiers playing stabby knives together. And the beef between Judah and Israel. Okay. So tonight, the players are Ishbosheth, Abner, Messengers, and David. Something about that name, Ishbosheth. It's hard as fuck to say. I like it. Needs a few practice runs, you know? All right, so tonight we're continuing with the second book of Samuel, chapter 3. And I call this one, Psst, I got something to show you. Oh, boy. Okay. All right, so we fade from black
and open on a slow motion montage of David, who is having playtime with all his kids. We also see in the montage that David has a total of 6 kids by 6 individual mothers.
Wait, what?
Yes.
He went from 2 to 6?
That's correct.
Okay.
He's living his best life. We also find out that beef between the house of Saul and the house of David never really stopped and was ongoing for a long time. We find out that the house of David was growing strong while the house of Saul was kind of fizzling out. So we cut to Abner, who was trying to come up with ways to get more clout in the house of Saul. And suddenly Ishbosheth, the king of Israel, barges in on Saul and is all like, fam.
On Saul?
Yeah.
I thought Saul's dead.
No, yeah, right. This is, who are we talking about here? Barges on Abner.
Okay.
Right. So,
Abner is like, right,
correct.
The
he's
captain.
Like, correct. So he's like, fam, tell me you didn't bump uglies with my dad's side piece. Okay. This made Abner super mad. And he was all like, you need to get the back off me, son, because so all that other shit I did for this house means nothing now? I get it. Even though I've given you David on a silver platter, you're going to lie on me about one of Saul's tricks?
It's so confused. So much drama.
I'm going to go over to David's camp and make sure the prophecy of him taking over all of Israel comes true. How about that? If God has a problem, he can deal with me personally. Now move out of my way, bitch. Ishbosheth was terrified at this point, and he moved out of Abner's way. So we cut to Abner's messenger meeting with David, and Abner's messenger was kind of worried and was all like, Abner wants you to know that he hates Ishbosheth and is totally Team David now. He wants to make a deal with you to help you be the king of Israel. So David was happy with this and was all like, this is great. Tell Abner I'll meet with him, but only if he brings Saul's daughter, Michal. Michal is also Ishbosheth's sister. Supposedly, he was engaged to be married to her from having given Saul 100 foreskins.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the price of a bride. So Abner
foreskins, as in foreskins.
Yes, the skin on the tip of a penis. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Abner tells Ishbosheth to send some people to get Michal. And because Ishbosheth is terrified of Abner, he orders her to be taken from her husband, Paltiel. And now Paltiel couldn't stand what was happening. And he was following his wife as she was being taken away. And he was like crying like super hard. And once they got to a place called, they got all the way to a place called Bahurim, Abner was fed up with the crying and was all like, get the fuck out of here with all that crying and shit. So Paltiel was so scared that he turned around and left. Then we cut to Abner meeting with his elders of Israel, and he's trying to get them to declare David to be the king instead of Ishbosheth, and was all like, I'm just saying what everybody is already thinking. And I promise to fight for Israel against all its enemies to the death if I have to. Then we cut to Abner, who is rolling 20 deep when he meets up with David. And David is all like, hey guys, you're just in time for the feast. I made it just for you. So Abner was flattered, but really focused and was all like, wow, you really went all out, but I really shouldn't party while I'm on duty. Let's get you in control of Israel first, then we can party.
So wait, Abner is betraying Ishbosheth.
Correct. Well, he's not really betraying him. He told him. He's like, I'm Team David now. Yeah.
Okay.
So David wasn't about to say no and to all that and was like, fair enough, homie. Go be great. The party can wait. So Abner leaves, and David's nephew Job was also a commander in David's army.
Ask, where's Job in all this?
And so he was walking to the party as Abner was leaving with his guys. So then Job hears about the conversation between David and Abner and was not pleased. Mm-hmm. And he was all like, what the fuck did I just see, David? You just let Abner come through here like this? Can't you see he's playing us? So Job storms out of the party room and sends a messenger to bring back Abner to Hebron. So once Job and Abner saw each other and were close enough, Job gestured to Abner, and he gestured to them that they need like a private space to share like a little secret or something. And since Abner didn't know what was happening, he just followed Job along.
Oh no.
So once Job felt that they were alone, he pulled out a knife and stabbed Abner under the 5th rib and whispered in Abner's ear, all like, "This is for killing my brother Asahel, you piece of shit."
Of course.
So a little later on, we cut to David finding out about what Job did to Abner, and he was not pleased and was all like, "Who told him to do that? This is all his fault, and I hope that everyone in his family pays for killing Abner, and that they get diseases and they are really gross and painful. I hope they all suffer from starvation and all kinds of bad shit. Seriously, who told him to do that?" Then David looks at everyone involved and was all like, "Oh, and you can bet you are all going to Abner's funeral and you'll be wearing nothing but burlap sacks."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So cut to David, and he's picking up his lyre again, and he decides to sing a song for Abner, and it was such a sad song that it made everyone cry. Then everyone could see David was super sad at this point and tried their best to get him to eat some food. But David was too upset to eat and was all like, "Leave me alone. I don't want your stupid bread, and I hope God kills me if I eat any before the sun goes down." So the Bible tells us at this point that David was above reproach with the Israelite people, and they recognized that Abner's death was not David's fault. David at this point declares himself to be as being the anointed king over Israel, but is overwhelmed by his nephew's behavior and is all like, "Just let God sort this whole mess. I'm so fucking done." That's it. That's the end of the chapter.
Okay.
And let's see. Fun Bible facts. The site known as the Tomb of Abner is located not far from the Cave of the Patriarchs in Hebron and receives visitors throughout the year. Job's name is a derivative of Yahweh and means Yahweh is father.
Oh, okay.
According to Wikipedia, observant Jews and those who follow Talmudic Jewish traditions do not pronounce or say out loud the name Yahweh, but instead they will replace it with different terms like Adonai, which means my Lord, and Elohim, which actually means God's plural, but is used in a singular way. And the term Hashem, which means the name in everyday speech, is also used as a substitute.
Oh, okay. So Abner's dead.
So next time we'll hear more about a couple of assassins who get executed and some more juicy decapitations and dismemberment.
Oh my gosh. David has a messy house now.
He sure does.
I wonder how he's going to clean it up. You think Job's going to be the new captain?
I don't know. He'll probably get killed like everybody
Leslie,
else.
you think Job's going to be captain?
She said no. I can't have her on the same track.
Pass the plate and donate. Pass the plate and donate. Pass the plate and donate. Pass the plate, you gotta donate. Well, we learn about the second book of Samuel, chapter 3.
Psst, I got something to show you.
David has 6 kids, and the house of Saul and the house of David keep fighting. Abner is meeting with leaders for David to be a king. Job doesn't like it, so he kills Abner. Oh no! Pass the plate.
He stabbed him under the 5th rib.
And donate. Pass the plate and donate. Pass the plate and donate. Pass the plate. You gotta donate. Well, go to chonillapodcast.com, and when you get to the website, click on the top right corner and click the donate button. Your donation helps support the show, helps support the network, so you can hear amazing content like this: Chonilla, Interracial Jan, Creative to Creative, Uncolonized, and so much more. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, so much drama.
That was awesome.
Now I feel like watching that movie with Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Leslie, thank you so much for being on the show. Oh my God, we have to do this again. I love you. I love your perspective. I love your thoughts. And I'm super excited about your upcoming podcast. I can't wait. I love to discover new things. So now I'm going to go and not only discover Phish and their music, and I'm sure that it's going to brings so much perspective as I'm listening to the show, to the music.
Yeah.
And then once the show comes out, woohoo!
That's one
Never
of the
know.
reasons. Yeah.
Y'all might create a new Phish fan here.
That's one of the reasons that I appreciate you so much, Leslie, is that every time we hang out and every time we get an opportunity to talk, I learn so much. And I appreciate that you're out there learning, teaching, and giving people an opportunity to raise their, consciousness. And
I appreciate that. I read a lot. It's like the only thing I do these days. It's like if I'm not working, I'm reading. So that's my thing. Everybody knows. They just get books from me in the mail. Like, what's going on? Well, I just read this one. I'm sending it to you.
Nice.
So people can find you. LeslieMac.com is where they can find you, and they can follow you on Twitter. Let me tell you, Leslie's Twitter game, I am like, wow. So you could find
Twitter champ.
If you want to keep learning from Leslie, definitely follow Leslie on Twitter, Leslie Mac, sharing always, teaching, and letting people know what the fuck is up and get your shit together, people.
Yeah, be ready to learn because you'll have a hard time if you're not ready to learn.
That's right, because Leslie's all about trying to make humanity a bit less trashy. Thank you again, Leslie. We love you. Until then, until next week. Oh, make sure to chonillapodcast.com. Visit the website so you can catch the show notes. You can catch the video music that we play at. You have to see the videos of the song that we play at the beginning. It's one thing about the song, but when you see the video, though,
yeah, it's weird that it kind of ties it all together.
It really ties it together. And we also share it on the group. So go check us out on Facebook group where you can connect with us and fellow Chonillians by going to facebook.com/group/Chonilla. Please leave a 5-star review. Not only it helps more people to discover the show, but leave your review as a 5-star question or feedback about the latest episode. And email us, chonillapodcast@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail if you go to speakpipe.com/Chonilla, and we'll be more than happy to hear your voice, share your voice on the show. Leave your message and we'll play it. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the week. Be kind, still wear a mask, don't be a maskal, and have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Peace
and Chonilla love. David's kind of, sometimes I'm like, cool, David. And then sometimes I'm like, damn, David.
Yes.
He's like a rock star.
Oh, wow.
That's what David is in the Bible. He's like a rock star. It's like he's amazing. Everybody follows him, but also he's kind of a jerk off. So
you look amazing. As usual.
Thank you.
Flawless.
I had to do a IG live thing earlier, so
nice.
A little more dressed up than I normally would be to chat with my friends.
Wait, you're still listening to podcasts? Well, if you love this episode of the Chonilla Podcast so much, just head over to iTunes or Spotify to subscribe and leave a review, I guess.
Second book of Samuel, chapter 2. Let's fucking go, okay? Let's go.